안녕하세요 여러분, 제 이름은 디바예요. Welcome back to my channel. Today I'm really excited because it marks the last day of your Hangul journey as far as learning the alphabet goes. We're going to be covering sound change rules today, and it's a little complicated at first, but you'll end up doing it subconsciously later on. So I really hope this video helps. If you have any questions or any ideas, anything I missed, please let me know down below. 시작하자! This lesson marks the final lesson for learning Hangul. I wish I could say this lesson will be easy, but again, it takes some time to get used to. Today we'll be learning about sound change rules. I tried really hard for the previous lesson not to introduce any words that followed these rules, but one managed to fly under the radar. What are sound change rules and why are they so bad? Well, they're not bad once you're used to dealing with them, but essentially they're changes made to character sounds you've already learned for the ease of pronunciation. The cool thing about this that I noticed is I started doing this subconsciously before I was even proficient with this. It's like my mind and mouth were in agreement that if something was too hard to pronounce or just sounded unnatural coming out, then there had to be a better way to pronounce this. This video might be a bit lengthy, but I'm going to do my absolute best to make this as easy as possible. Please take notes as there's going to be a lot of information in this video. Before we really get into this, let's learn about final consonants. This is exactly what it sounds like, the final consonant of a word. This is called padchim in Korean. Padchim, padchim. This has to be the very last consonant. This will come in handy for conjugation rules in the future as well as sound change rules. Going forward, I'm going to refer to it as padchim. So make sure you know that padchim means final consonant. In words like sa or ko, there are no final consonants because our words end in vowels. Wouldn't that make the consonant at the beginning the final consonant? No, because it literally has to be at the very end to be considered padchim. If we look at words like sam and son, you can see that these end in consonants. They're not followed by anything in the next syllable, so these are our padchim. It's not too hard of a concept to grasp, right? Take a look at these words and write down which ones you think have padchim. I'll give you about 15 seconds and then reveal the answers. You can pause the video if you need to. The answers should be 1, 4, and 5. 1 is pronounced mat. Mat. 4 is pronounced chu. Chu. And 5 is pronounced tasot. Tasot. You might be a little bit confused now why the shiat at the bottom has a different sound, and we're going to cover that. So how does this play into sound change rules? Let's learn that now. I'm going to start off with some really easy ones, so follow along. Shiat to shi. If you have a shiat followed by the vowel e or any vowel that has a y sound in front of it, it turns into an sh sound like sh, sh. So if we have a shiat and e next to each other, it's not si, but shi. Remember, we have Y sound vowels, and we're going to take a look at what happens when a shiat meets those Y sounds in just a moment. I will show you how these get pronounced. Shi, xia, xiu, shu, xiu. That's why BTS's Suga actually should be pronounced as Suga, but when romanized, we pronounce it as shu. Words like shopping, 시간, 셔츠, shower all get pronounced with an sh because it's followed by an e or any vowel with a y sound. Next, tiet turns into chi. I would like you to notice that the actual character is not changing, but its sound. So when I tell you that a character turns into something else, it's still the same character, but the sound is different. If you have the consonant tiut followed by the vowel e, it gets pronounced as chi instead of t. One common word that you are going to see this in a lot is the word 같이. You can hear that I pronounced it 같이 because our tiet, final consonant, is followed by e. So it's not 같이, but 같이, 같이. Next is hiet. If you have a hiet, the hiet doesn't really get pronounced as harshly as we do in English. However, if you do happen to overpronounce it, that's fine. This can be heard or not so much heard in words like 좋아, 좋아, or no, no. You won't really hear the hiet pronounced in those. However, in words like 감사합니다, 감사합니다, you can't hear the hiet either, but it is there. So it's kind of like a silent character, but oftentimes you will hear it in words like 하다 or 해요. So it's not silent all the time, but you will pick up on cues where you don't really have to overpronounce it. Now we're going to get into a bit of the more trickier rules, so please follow along and make sure to take adequate notes. Nian wins all. If you have a consonant other than liel, followed by nian, the nian is typically stronger. A lot of times you'll run into this with the grammar point 는. For now, don't worry about what this is or what it does, but you are going to see it in a lot of words or followed by it at some point. When your padchim is followed by nian, the sound is overtaken. So instead of words like 맞는, 맞는, or 받는, 받는, we have 많은 or 파는. There are some exceptions with this though. Exception 1. If your word ends in a kiok, our GK sound, followed by nian, like in this word here, 먹는, you might think this reads as 먹는, 먹는. But that kind of sounds weird, right? When the kiok meets nian, the kiok sound turns into an NG. We have a sound that turns into 먹는, 먹는. Exception 2 is piep, and it's followed by a nian. This one isn't as mind-boggling, and honestly, if you don't do this, it's not the biggest deal, but it is worth it to know. This one you either get right away or it takes time. It's not hard though, I promise. The piep sound, when met with a nian, will slightly turn into a miam. So in words like 감사합니다, literally syllable for syllable, it is 감사합니다, 감사합니다, 감사합니다. But when I say it a bit faster, 감사합니다, you can hear when the piep meets the nian, it's less of a BP and more of an M sound. Would it be incorrect if it were pronounced with a BP, like 감사합니다? Absolutely not, but you'd sound a little more natural if you try to pronounce it with an M sound. Again, mistakes are going to happen as a beginner. It's all a part of the process. 바보 리을 Part 2. If you have a word that has 리을 followed by a nian in the next syllable, or vice versa, the liel is the only thing that will be pronounced. It almost overtakes the nian. A good example of this word is 일년, 일년. Separated would be pronounced normally. However, due to these rules, it gets pronounced as 일년, 일년. Try to say it without the sound change rule. Listen to the pronunciation. 일년, 일년. It sounds a bit off, right? like you're tripping over or swallowing your tongue? If it feels wrong, it probably is. Another good word is 싫어. Not 싫네, but 싫어. Next, we have mium. If you have a mium followed by a dir, there is a sound change rule. The dir will actually change its sound into a nian. Confusing, I know. I'm sorry. I have two words for this. 음료 and 심리. 심리. For our first word, if you don't know the rule, you will probably try to pronounce it as umbrio. Umbrio. But even that feels a bit weird to say. If we change the pronunciation of the dir into a nian, it becomes 음료. Umnyo. Way easier to pronounce. The same is done for our next word. It wouldn't be 심리, but 심리. We're going to start moving on to more complicated rules, as if the ones we learned already weren't complicated enough. This one may seem like a lot, but there are a few padchim that change sounds when they become the padchim. These all change their sounds to a tigat sound, our DT sound. These characters are 시읒, 쌍시읒, 히읗, 지읒, 쌍지읒, 치읒. Digat, however, will remain the same because it makes our DT sound, but 쌍디귿 and ti읒 will be affected by this too. This concept might seem strange. They keep their shape but not their sound. Again, it's just to make pronouncing things easier. Also, remember, it's only considered padchim if the final consonant in the word is not followed by a vowel. These consonant sounds would be absolutely normal if they were followed by a vowel. Hard stop. So I know this might sound a bit counterproductive to what I've just said, but when we learned about ti읒 meaning e and 시읒 meaning e, those are exceptions because they do change their sounds to shi and chi. So those are exceptions apart from this rule, just in case there was any confusion. I know at this point it may seem overwhelming and you might want to give up, but you also don't need to remember all of this right away. You're going to make mistakes. It's a part of the process. I still make mistakes, but that's how we learn. To give you an example of this rule, here are some words that this applies to. 맛, eat, 늦, 핏, mit, meet. You can hear how the end of these gets pronounced as our DT sound. Something to remember is this only applies when it's padchim. If these words were followed by vowels in the next syllable, they go back to normal. Let's see what this would look like and hear the difference. 맛 turns to 맛이. eat turns into 있어. 늦 turns into 늦어. 핏 turns into 빛이. 밑 turns into 믿어. 밑 turns into 밑에. A lot of rules or pronunciation you see from here on out, I would make a note of how whomever you're listening to pronounces it. I'm going to put up a few words for you to practice. I'll give you the right answers at the end. 맛있다, 맛있다. 로션, 로션. not, not. 맞다, 맞다. 맞아, 맞아. 넷, 넷. 꽃, 꽃. 못, 못. 같이, 같이, 안나, 안나. I know this was hard and probably super confusing, but you did an amazing job. And this is the end of your Hangul journey. Well, at least for now. Starting from now on, we'll work on assembling simple sentences for beginners. Don't give up and revisit these videos as often as you need and take your time. It's not worth it to rush through.